Only a couple, less than an hour removed from your big UFC win. What are the emotions now? Flying all the way to Perth, Australia, and kind of ruining Shane Young's. I know it's not his home country, but this part of the world.
Oh man, it feels fantastic because my whole career, basically, I've been going in people's backyards and ruining their day in front of their family and their friends and their loved ones. So it's nothing new. It's just a job. It's not personal. It's just what I do.
Do you enjoy that role, playing the spoiler for everyone?
Oh yeah, I'm like the superhero turned villain. But yeah, I love it. I love it, man. I love it because I work so hard for everything that I got, and I really do go above and beyond. If anybody knows me, they know my work ethic is second to none, and so when I get to go in people's backyards and be the underdog, I thrive off of that.
Looking at this fight specifically, it seemed, especially earlier in the fight when you were going left to right, you were finding a lot of success with your jab, and that seemed to like kind of frustrate Shane. Didn't want to come forward anymore. Was that the game plan coming in?
Absolutely. For Shane, he's a very linear fighter, and he doesn't do very well off of lateral movement. So what we were doing is just getting off to the side, feigning, get him to make a mistake, and then when he bites, boom, place one, not hard, but just touch, and then he's frustrated because he can't pin me back. What he was trying to do is I could read him like a book. He was trying to pin me back against the cage, almost like a boxer in a ring, and get you into this area. And then kind of gun shots off of that, but I wasn't allowing it, and I was getting back to the center and just making him move a lot, and he wasn't feeling that.
And also, you were pretty exceptional with your defensive wrestling, Shane. Like, he looked to take you down a few times, and you either reversed it or popped it back up. Were you just that? Did you know you would have that much of an advantage in the grappling and the defensive wrestling?
Yeah. I mean, I felt like he had nothing on me. I mean, I trained with the best guys, Adam Lin, went over to Vegas and trained with Andy Varela. He's like top 10 in the world for ADCC. I mean, killers, and I'm amongst one of them. I just got my black belt like a day before coming here from my coach Felipe Fogelin, who's an absolute savage. We just work hard, man, and we work like with intention. We have attention and intention mixed together with every movement we do, from the moment we walk in to the moment we leave.
So what was more emotional, getting the black belts or getting this win?
Oh man, I don't know. I think the black belt, to be honest.
Not surprising, honestly.
Because I mean, both are 15, 16 years in the works, right? Black belt was 15 years, but it was just unexpected. Here, I'm coming in here expecting to win, so it's also emotional because I'm coming up on a year of my little brother's suicide, and it's my mom's birthday today, so it's like it's just a blessing, man. It was a couple weeks after her birthday, and I miss him every day, and I fight for him, and I fight for all the people who are suffering in silence, So today has been very, very emotional, but in such a good way. It's such a blessing,
Well, to kind of go off of that, I don't know if you're aware, but Shane actually does a lot in New Zealand for suicide awareness for young men. It's kind of his mission. Did you know that? Did you speak to him at all about it? He's done a lot for this part of the world in that.
Man, that's great. I know he had been out for a couple of years because I don't listen to like my opponent's interviews, but somebody said that like he had been struggling with depression. He got knocked out pretty bad. And for a fighter, it does something to your spirit. It messes with your will. So I think it's very admirable for him to step up and step out. I think a lot of fighters deal with that. Like for me, it's been one of the things that I struggled with my whole life. And it was actually funny because like right after my little brother's suicide, I was listening to like Andrew Tate, and Top G was like, he was like, if you kill yourself and you're a man, he's like basically like you're a peasant. And I was like, man, like, what's up with that? And like what he was saying, I think, was like, what man wants to feel like a peasant, or what man wants to feel like bad about themselves? It's like, no, nothing is worth killing yourself over. Nothing is worth going that route. You definitely don't want to live your life like that, especially if you are leaving children behind. And I don't know, man, like for me, like I've always been like I've always kind of had like depression and like suicidal thoughts and whatnot, but after that, like I don't know if it's just how he said it or what he said, but it just kind of clicked for me, and I was just like, man, he's like, I choose not to like live in depression anymore. I choose not to like have those thoughts or go down that route anymore. So I don't know what it was for me, but it just clicked in that moment when I heard him say that.
Final one for me, and I'll let you go. What do you want the rest of your year to look like in terms of here fighting in the UFC?
Ooh, I want to get active. I want to get active, baby. I want to start working up the ladder. You know, I think we just beat the #1 guy in all of Canada for the Dana White Contender Series. So that was Alex Morgan, #1, 4 pro titles, and now we just beat Shane, who I think he was number 69, and I was number 110. I don't really see the 10 after that one, but it's there. You know, so I'm excited to see where the ranks go. You know, I'm excited to break into the top 15 and show what I can do and show what I'm made of, and put on great performances for you guys. I didn't get the finish, but I promise we're going to be getting finishes very soon.
How closely do you look at those rankings? Because most people don't look past 20, but you're looking all the way to 110 and like 60, rank 69 and all that.
Yeah. Well, it was like very exciting for me because like everybody talks about like regional rankings, right? And so on like Tapology, you're always looking on there like, oh, who's the #1 guy? Who's da-da-da-da-da? And like you always want to be that #1 guy. And I always wanted to be that #1 guy. You know, I was #1 in the country as an amateur, for top 5 in boxing, and #1 in MMA as an amateur, and had 2 kickboxing titles. And so ranking for me is like, all right, yeah, like I'm coming for that #1 spot. I was always looking at the top dogs, and I'm like, man, that's the #1. I could beat that guy. And so I was looking, and so once it said world rankings on my thing, I was like, oh, yes, we did it. You know, so I saw 110, and then I go to 106 sometimes, and then I saw Shane was like 69 or 70 or something like that. So like, I wonder how much that'll push me up, you know?
Blake, just one from me. Is there any featherweights on the card or featherweight fights tonight that you're really keeping an eye on?
Yeah, Yair Rodriguez versus Josh Emmett.
Is there any specific reason, and if I could dive a little bit deeper on more the Australian-based, does anyone in the featherweight division, like a Josh Coolabau, do any of those guys stick out for you at all?
No, not really. I'm more so focused on improving myself and becoming a better version of me. So my focus, even on this fight, like I didn't watch any like film on what's his face? What's his name? Shane. Yeah, I didn't watch any film on him. You know, it's like the. Sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
No, I answered it perfectly.
I'm more so just like focused on improving my skill set every day and just making sure that I'm the best version of myself. Like every time I look in that mirror.
I think I just bring that point up because you said you were 110th, so I thought that you kind of have a closer eye on the look of the rankings than most people. So is there anyone kind of that's maybe just a couple of positions higher than you that's on your mind?
Yeah, it's, you know, the area that I'm looking at is always top 15. Is always top 15. So I've been eyeing all the top 15 guys and just seeing what they do, what they don't do, what they can improve on, and why they are in the position that they're in. and then acclimating myself to take on the characteristics and attributes that they have in order to obtain that position as well.